I think my mum's trying to kill my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
So I was just looking at Facebook before I came on here, and then my mum's put a Facebook update on there. And my mum doesn't use like Facebook that often, but she's using it to document the trials and tribulations she's having at Tractor Fest, which I'm assuming is like a festival of tractors. I don't know what she fucking does with it.
Wait, is your mom into farming?
No, but I think my dad is, and she's obviously there with my father.
Okay.
And I think she might be there with my nephew as well. And it just says, Tractor Fest in the rain, my life is complete. Then underneath it says, I've decided there are only so many tractors and farm vehicles you can look at before hiring one to dig a large hole under the patio.
Oh my God.
So yeah, no, I think my mum's trying to kill my dad.
I definitely see where you got your sense of humor now.
This is why I am how I am.
Yeah, that totally makes sense now.
Yeah. I thought you'd enjoy that small nugget before we get
That's
started.
great. I mean, to be fair, she has a
incredible.
point with the, being dragged to Tractor Fest.
I can't think of anything worse. And it's like pissing down with rain as well.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder Friends, the podcast where three friends from three different countries talk about murder. My name's Alana, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah, and I'm British.
So sit back and relax. You're among friends, and let's talk murder.
So, guys, I guess we should debrief on yesterday's Detective Day, or Daytective Day, as I saw that Hannah punned in the little group chat, which did not go unnoticed.
Did I? Did I misspell it?
Oh, did you just misspell it? I thought you were just like being, punny.
What did I can't even remember what I said.
You wrote it says day, detective, and then it said Daytective Day.
No, that was just misspelling. Obviously.
Oh, that was so good. You should have just owned that. You'd have been like, yeah.
I didn't realise I did it.
Anyway, okay, so that wasn't on purpose. So,
I mean, yeah, it totally was. I did it on purpose because I'm so funny.
Yeah. So yesterday we did this virtual murder mystery, and basically you have a team, and you download the app on your phone, and you follow the witnesses. So you've got to basically walk all around. I mean, it is like a really fun way to get in some cardio.
Yeah, I was just actually FaceTiming with my parents back in Canada, and I was trying to explain it to them how it's like this virtual clue, essentially, and we walk around with our phones, and based on your GPS, witnesses pop up and stuff. And my mom was like, oh, so it's like that Pokemon game. Yeah, I mean, sure, kind of like Pokemon Go. I don't know how you know that, but that is a thing that exists.
I think she's like an avid player of Pokemon Go. I like to think
she's
that.
just trying to put it in there on the sly.
Yeah, she's like, I'm cool amazing. And also down with the kids.
I actually have a story about Pokemon Go soon, but I'll save that for another time. But yeah, so it was there were actually a lot of teams. I don't know, how many do you think? We saw so many.
I looked at the leaderboard after everything had finished, because you had to finish by 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And there were 100 teams of people.
100?
100. Yeah, that's what the leaderboard said.
Wow. I didn't really... To be fair, we did see them all over town, so that made sense, I guess.
Yeah, we saw the same people over and over again.
Yeah. But it was really cool because you... I don't know. It was just you have to try to solve the crime, and so you talk to all the witnesses, and you have to, which we kind of figured out that you sort of have to take what they say on face value.
Yeah, I think we might have been looking at it at a more difficult. We made it a bit more difficult for ourselves, thinking oh, people might be lying to us. We have to cross-reference things and stuff, and I think it was a little bit more straightforward.
Oh, it was way more straightforward than that. We were all because of obviously who we are, we're questioning everything. There's got to be a deeper plot here that we're missing, and yeah, but it was fun. Okay, so also you had to have your team name and you had to dress up.
We did both those things.
We did those things.
We did.
Hannah, what was our official team name?
So our team name was the Staircase Owl Murderers.
Brilliant. I still think it's...
And we were absolutely dressed up as owls in public.
Murderous owls at that. I'm going to post a picture to our social media, so you guys have to take a look. I got to be honest, we didn't actually walk around town like that. we did cheat and sort of take off the mask after the picture, but still, it made a great picture.
I thought it was great. I thought it was a great name. I thought it was a great costume. And then everything had to be closed at 5. And I think it was like 6 o'clock. I thought, I should check the Facebook page to see if we won. Because there's different prizes. We knew we weren't going to be the fastest team because we already were out of the running at that point. But there was going to be awards for best team name, best team photo. And I thought, we definitely got to get one of those. The staircase murderous owls is hilarious. And the fact that we were dressed as owls, also hilarious. And I was so distraught to see we were kicked out of the winnings, particularly by, not that children, children beat us.
Yeah,
basically.
They did. I mean, do you feel like people just didn't understand us?
I feel like we were a bit niche.
We were a bit niche, weren't
Very
we?
niche.
I think we were, because mostly everyone was dressed up as like 1920s detectives or something, weren't they? Like,
yeah, a lot of like Peaky Blinders sort of references. And I was thinking about it afterwards. Originally, I thought the mystery would have actors on the street that you would talk with. And so I thought, well, if these people have set up this game and they really love true crime, they absolutely will know the staircase. And they should know Owl Theory. Like, we even have, our own episode on Owl Theory. When we were doing it and I realized that it was completely virtual, someone just made this game and they're probably sitting at home, the likelihood of them knowing about Owl Theory is probably very slim.
Yeah, they're sitting at home on just a massive pile of money.
Exactly.
Oh, it's such a great idea. It's
Fun.
such a great idea.
Okay, so basically, I can't remember how much we paid to do it. I want to say we paid like 30 quid or something. Was it that?
At least.
At least.
I
I can't remember.
yeah.
Around then. Okay, so we paid that. Literally, they don't have to do anything. It's all in an app, and you post like the pictures and stuff onto a Facebook page. They don't do anything.
Yeah, it's awesome. I wish I had thought of it myself.
I know.
It's such a great business model. Such a great business model. I really liked how when you'd walk around the town and you'd like see witnesses, and sometimes when you approached a witness, the witness would run away and then he'd be at a different location on the map and you had like 5 minutes to get there. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
that was good.
Really fun. And then there was like a secret witness. When we spoke to someone, they were like, if you go and hang out by this church, a witness will appear, and that actually happened. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I
but
thought it was
also
really fun.
Yeah, when you approached witnesses, there was a brain teaser. You had to solve a riddle or something about local history, or you had to find, say, like a statue that had a date on it and like add up the numbers. So that was pretty cool. It added like a different kind of level to it. But we did find out that Alana's really, really good at riddles.
Yeah,
which was like
freakishly like good at riddles.
We were like reading and we were like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's this." And it's like, what?
Map or like whatever. It was incorrect.
Yeah,
like,
but
what?
then there's like a simple like grade 4 maths question about probability and socks. And I'm just like, honestly, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to step away from this. I don't know how to do this.
That was great. I think we stood there for 10 minutes contemplating the answer to that question.
Yeah, we solved all of them except one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. But math is not my strong suit either, for sure. But it was really good fun, and actually I recommend it. It seems like when I looked into it more today, and they do it, I know it's like a UK thing, but they do it, I think it would be hard to do in the US just because, unless it was a big city, but because you have to do, it's like you're walking around a town, aren't you? But they just do the same game, but in cities everywhere. So I think we did it was kind of a Peaky Blinder type mystery thing, it was
like gangs and
yeah, like that, and they just do it in like cities everywhere while they're at home sitting on their money. It's amazing.
But we did come out of like 100 teams, we came 6th overall.
Oh, did we come 6th overall?
No way.
For like speed, we came 6th, which I think is really, really good.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, there's only 3 of us. There are some teams of like 6 people. So you think they can maybe figure things out a little bit faster than 3 people. But I'll take 6. Yeah. Definitely.
That's cool. 100%. Yeah, that's better than, definitely. Well, do you know what, though, is I think if we did this again, which I think we should, like when they do a new one and they do another one, because it was fun, we should do it again. But now we kind of like know how to do it. It's like a strategy. So I think we have a strategy now that we would do it and we could do it quicker, and we realize, okay, it's not like actually as like in depth. We don't have to sit there and contemplate like as much as we did because it's actually pretty straightforward. But yeah, I was kind of like, you know, the winner people who won. So then there was prizes for best dressed and best team name and stuff like that. And I was like, best dog, yes, best.
Love that.
That was good. Best kid, wasn't it? Best kid costume.
Yeah.
Best kid.
Little
Best
detective.
kid.
Best kid. I don't know. And yeah, but like the person that won, the team that won, it was just they were in just crime scene out, you know, the suits and the things that shoe covers and like, the whole thing, and they had set up like their little crime scene, which great. Okay, it was a
They
good
really
picture.
went for it, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's just so boring. I mean, we were owls. I mean, come on. I don't know.
I was actually, I think, was it Best Dressed? It was called like Men in Black or something, and it was a bunch of guys in suits.
Oh, and they had kids in like pinstripe suits, didn't
Yes,
they?
they had. That's where we lost out. They had kids, and we did not.
Okay. Well, next time we're gonna bring my daughter
Definitely.
and dress her up. Okay.
Absolutely.
And we need to borrow a dog as well, so we can
And a
cover
dog.
as many bases as possible.
Find a dog. We're gonna do it.
I'm going to bring one of our
Definitely.
cats.
But I think it was called Clued
Clued up.
Clued Up.
Yeah, Clued up.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, and if you see it, I think we just found it because it just advertised on that damn targeted advertising on Facebook. It worked.
What a perfect segue. We'll talk about targeted advertising later, I think.
Yes. Oh,
In
yes,
our
we are
review
today, aren't we? Okay, so today for true crime news, I was going to chat to you guys about, and I don't exactly know how to say his last name, Michael Gargiulo. He's also known as the Hollywood Ripper. So I'm going to tell you guys, have you guys heard of him?
I saw a news story pop up about him, but I don't know any of the original story.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Right. So now they're pretty horrific crimes, and so I'm not going to like go to in-depth detail. The thing that made this case so like headline, like in the headlines and stuff like that, basically he was just he was just convicted, found guilty of murder. So on the 15th of August, 2019, he was found guilty of murdering 2 women in Los Angeles and attempted murder of a third. On February 21st, 2001, fashion design student Ashley Ellerin was at home. She was showering to get ready for a date with actor Ashton Kutcher, and that's why this case was especially like in the headlines, because he, you know, obviously he's famous, and he did testify in the case. So he attacked her in the bathroom with a knife, which is like everybody's, I think, worst nightmare. God.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No, that's like the stuff of horror films. So Kutcher actually arrived for their date and knocked on the door, and he was a bit late. But after Ellerin did not answer the door, he peered through the window and he saw what he thought was just red wine stains. And he thought maybe she just gotten angry. But this was like 2001, so we weren't quite on the, you know, cell phones yet, like text messaging and stuff. So he thought that she'd just like gone out and was tired of waiting. So, and her roommate actually discovered her the next morning when she returned. And I was reading some of the interviews with, like, Ashton Kutcher, and I guess he freaked out because obviously he tried the door and everything. You know, his DNA was there, was found the next day. The second victim, which I kind of feel is a little sad because of just Ashton Kutcher, by circumstance, you know, happened to be going on a date with this girl, that victim got a lot of attention, but he actually has more victims, and the other ones don't kind of get quite as much. You know, people don't talk about it as much. I guess it's not as newsworthy, which is just really upsetting. The second victim, Maria Bruno, was killed in her home in El Monte, California on the 1st of December, 2005, and she was stabbed 17 times. Oh. On the 28th of April, 2008, he attacked his neighbor, Michelle Murphy, in Santa Monica. She was able to fight him off, and his blood and DNA was found at the scene. He's actually also been charged in another murder in Chicago from 1993, and he allegedly murdered his neighbor, Tricia Pacchio. She was 18 years old, and it was on her back doorstep where he stabbed her to death as well. I think that he went to LA after that incident, I guess, to flee. So the sentencing is coming up for him, and obviously the death penalty is on the table because of they have a death penalty in California. But the sentencing is next week, and then he will then be sent to Illinois to stand trial for her murder as well. So he's he's not going anywhere. He actually did plead not guilty by reason of insanity.
Of course.
Yeah, he told authorities in the LA County Jail that just because 10 women were killed and his DNA was present, it doesn't mean he murdered anyone. So this has actually led investigators to believe that there are possibly more victims. Obviously, no more victims have been linked to him, but they think maybe. He says that he just, I can't remember the phrasing, but it's like he just would lose his mind while he went to kill these women. So that was his defense. He wasn't responsible. He's just insane, which is awful. I meant to say that I got a lot of this information from the Wikipedia page, from his Wikipedia page, and also there's a BBC article that came out on the 15th that I got some of the information from that was talking about the sentencing. But yeah, and what, the other thing about this that I don't really like, I hate that he's got this Hollywood Ripper, they glamorize and give him these names, and you're you're just awful. Twat. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's and then the Hollywood Ripper, oh yeah. So it's this, obviously the killers have been given names for years, but I don't know.
That makes it sound especially saying the Hollywood Ripper, makes it sound really kind of glamorous in a way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just I just don't.
Because when you think Hollywood, you think old school glam, and calling him that makes him sound like some sort of proper gentleman, some sort of
I know. I don't
like an
it.
old actor kind of.
I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about that people should give these types of killers names because it's easier to refer to them, but they should be embarrassing. The killer who was an idiot and left his fingerprints on the window, or the killer with the tiny penis. Things that are linking enough so it has a title so people can reference it, and obviously it looks better in newspapers and TV shows and things, but it's not a nice name.
No,
it's really
offensive
to them.
Yeah.
That could be the Golden State Killer, right? The tiny penis penis killer.
Only time anyone says tiny penis, I think about that Vine where it's oh, it's your boy, tiny penis. It kills me every single time. It's not fun.
But yeah, so that's. Well, I guess we'll see what happens with that. What he ends up being sentenced for. But obviously, he's never getting out of jail.
He's gonna get something.
He's gonna get something. If I would be surprised if he didn't get the death penalty.
So this week we want to talk about The Great Hack. Have you guys seen it?
I have, yes.
I have not, no.
I have.
Lovely. So I'll run through the synopsis and basically what the programme is about, and then we'll do some discussion and review. So The Great Hack was released on Netflix on the 24th of July after its premiere at the Sundance Festival earlier this year. It explores the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the role it played in the successful Trump presidential campaign and the equally successful pro-Brexit Leave EU campaign. So Cambridge Analytica was founded in 2013 in England. It is actually an offshoot of an American group called SCL. So their business, Cambridge Analytica's business, offered this consulting service to other businesses but also political parties for targeted marketing. And it did that by using data analysis and behavioural science. So really a strange combination of things. Not necessarily strange, but it makes sense. So what they basically did was they made Facebook ads that targeted certain Facebook users to try and persuade them to do one thing or do another thing, or buy one thing, or, vote in an election, for example. So Cambridge Analytica, they used data that was retrieved from Facebook through a personality test app called This Is Your Digital Life. The alarming part of this app is that, say if one of you did it and you agreed, do you know when you do an app on Facebook and you click the I agree to them accessing my email address and profile picture, for example, and all the other things. So you click it accept on that, and it would harvest all your data. But what it also did was this app actually harvested data from your friends. It would harvest So you'd get my data, you'd get all your friends' data as well, which is obviously not consensual, but it's produced this chunk of data that was for tens of millions of Facebook users, some of which, obviously, there's no consent on it. This data was then purchased by Cambridge Analytica, and Facebook were like, oh, I don't think you should have that. Can you delete it? And they were like, oh, maybe we'll delete it. And they didn't. Instead, they used it to create mass amounts of targeted advertisements and posts. Brittany Kaiser, who was one of the whistleblowers of Cambridge Analytica, she was the former business development director, explains that they identified people whose minds could be changed, so like swing voters. And then this is a quote: "We bombarded them through blogs, websites, articles, videos, ads, every platform you can imagine, until they saw the world the way that we wanted them to, until they voted for our candidate."
God, that just gives you like a chill up your spine.
It was so terrifying watching this. I know this isn't our typical true crime, but oh my God, like this isn't, you know, what we don't typically cover, but it was so horrifying.
All of your interactions, your credit card swipes, web searches, locations, likes, they're all collected in real time into a $1 trillion a year industry.
The real game changer was Cambridge Analytica. They'd worked for the Trump campaign and for the Brexit campaign. They started using information warfare.
Cambridge Analytica claimed to have 5,000 data points on every American voter.
I started tracking down all these Cambridge Analytica ex-employees.
Someone else that you should be calling to the committee is Brittany Kaiser.
Brittany Kaiser, once a key player inside Cambridge Analytica, casting herself as a whistleblower.
The reason why Google and Facebook are the most powerful companies in the world is because last year data surpassed oil in value.
It really questions what is ethical and what is not ethical.
Yeah.
When you're having, you know, campaigns like political campaigns, which are supposed to be, you know, fair, and there are reporting regulations on what people can and cannot post on Facebook for that campaign. So it pulls a lot of things into question. The Great Hack really focuses on Cambridge Analytica being hired by the Trump presidential campaign and the Leave EU campaign, which I am still incredibly salty about, the latter, to be honest. So it uses testimony from Brittany Kaiser, who that quote came from earlier, Christopher Wiley, who was the data scientist behind Cambridge Analytica, and an investigative journalist called Carol Cadwallader. And basically it boils down to one really, really terrifying question. And that is, with technology like this available and our personal data being weaponized, are we ever going to have a fair political election ever again?
Oh, it's awful. They worked on the Ted Cruz campaign too, didn't they? There's your boy, the Zodiac Killer.
Ted Cruz.
Convinced.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the future of crimes. I know we said we don't normally talk about this type of true crime, but this is the way it's going to go. I think for people who are online now, I don't know if there's ever going to really be data security anymore. Like I know recently we had in the EU, they had the GDPR stuff come through.
Yeah.
And that's at least working to protect some people's information, and the fact that if the information gets leaked or there's some sort of violation, legally you have to speak up, you have to say something.
Yeah, you have to report it, yeah. We've got, because I work in quite a big law firm, and we had huge amounts of training on GDPR, and also about clients accessing their data that we hold. And you have to be really clear and really transparent with it, which is necessary. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
In my business as well, we have to, because we every day we receive people's personal information for what I do, and so we have to. There has like all these protocols about everything has to be shredded and deleted off our system and stored safely and everything like that. It's a big thing. It makes you feel like there's just like no anonymity anymore. Like you're. Like my daughter, she's never going to be around when there's, she's been alive, as long as she's been alive and growing up. Like there's always going to be there's
going to be record of her online.
Yes,
there's data,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Data that someone could potentially use to be used against other people. Yeah,
and control people. It's just really, it's like the stuff out of a movie where you just feel like it's this big conspiracy, like mind control thing that getting these people elected, and you're like, oh God. But
I noticed it really created kind of like a dissonance almost. Like there's a juxtaposition between this like seemingly dark side of social media where your data is being used to influence the outcome of really serious elections, like Britain leaving the EU. It's really serious. It's not like a small thing like, oh, who's going to be prime minister. It's like, this is a huge thing which is going to affect people now, but also future generations. That's terrifying. And the juxtaposition of these sites' original purpose, like how it's packaged for us to use. So it's packaged on that basis of it's trying to connect people and promote friendship and sharing. And it's just like those two things just do not mix together. But it really did make me want to delete everything and go live in the woods.
I know, it's so bad. It's just so scary.
Yeah, I'm just going to like build a new shed and then go live in it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. It is, well, I guess also with like Brexit and stuff like that, like if we leave without, a deal, it could put the economy into recession. Like it's got huge consequences.
Yeah, I mean, we're already staring down the barrel of another recession. We had one like 10 years ago.
It's horrible. Yeah.
It's not like this has influenced town council.
Yeah.
Or your new local MP from some county that like nobody knows about.
It's really serious. But I thought it was really explanatory, and it was very, very well timed for the problems that we're facing today. So, I thought it was really good. It's definitely worth a watch. Anna, what would you rate it?
Yeah, so I give it out of 5. I give it a 5. I thought it was really well like produced. It explained, to be honest, before I watched this, I didn't really sort of understand what they did. I mean, everybody heard about Cambridge Analytica, and there was something, and it was data, and I didn't actually understand, or I hadn't really looked into it quite so much. I just read a few articles on it, but this really does a really good job of explaining it to you. And now, I give it a 5. It's not a long watch, but I think it's really informative, and everybody should. If anything, it just will make you aware of your own like online security, and or just be aware that your data is out there for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I gave it a 4.5, 5 as well. I thought it was great, but definitely recommend a watch.
Okay, so the second thing we're going to chat about today is I Am a Killer. And it was just recently added to Netflix. I believe, and I really should have, it was done by Sky in partnership, I think, with Netflix. And I believe it aired on like regular cable television. And then they've just now put it onto Netflix, which of course that makes it really blow up because then everyone has access to it to binge it all. So I'll just say, from Netflix, the little synopsis is every convicted killer on death row has a story to tell. Hear them out and judge for yourself. From why they're on death row to teen killers on a satanic rampage, the blunt discussions will give you chills. So essentially, what it does, I think it's really well produced. I thought it was really it's good quality. And each episode, there's 10, and each of them is a different case. So they're all in death row. I think a lot of them have had their sentence commuted, so they were on death row and maybe are just serving life in prison. I know one of the guys, the other person in the crime was already put to death, but I think he told his story. It's really interesting. So what they do is they interview the killer, and they do talk about the crime. So they detail the crime, which, I mean, you don't really see too many true crime shows where you actually have the killer sitting there telling you what they did. And then you will have talks with, there's investigators and prosecutors and people who are their family of the victims, or so they kind of try to go about it looking at different sides. And then at the end of the program, they go back and talk to him again, the killer again. And they usually sort of relay what a lot of the other, the victim's family had said, or friends, or prosecutors, or whatever, and they answer a few more questions, that sort of thing, or have a few more things to say. So a lot of the inmates were quite young when they went in, and you can see they've been in prison for quite a long time, and usually can reflect on their crimes, and maybe they made a mistake when they were, and just following, they're following friends and doing it. And some of them were older, and some of them know exactly what they did and what was wrong. And then you do have some of them who are they're definitely where they belong. Like they have no accountability for their crime. They talk about it, but they're insistent that it didn't happen that way. But obviously all the evidence you can see points differently. It's really good. Have you guys watched some episodes?
Yeah, I watched a few. I really liked how, at least the ones that I had seen, that they also usually talk about some sort of issue with the prison system alongside that particular person's case. So in the very first episode, they talk to this one guy, James, on death row, and how he had been in what they call close management, where I guess it's kind of like, what's the term when they're by themselves?
Not isolate.
Oh, it's solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement, yes.
So basically in solitary confinement, and they talk about how he had been in solitary confinement, or they call it close management, for close to 20 years. And so they were saying about how, is this even helpful to anybody to be in that sort of environment, and how does that play on your psyche when you are isolated and alone and confined that seriously for such a long period of time? And for him particularly, I think they said he was like 17 when he was arrested, and it was fairly like petty crimes. But once he was in prison, he was acting out, he got put in close management, he got worse, and it got to the point where he said, you know, I can't survive in close management anymore. It's too much. I want to kill somebody so I can get on death row, because it is better to be on death row than in close management. And so he is put in a cell with this older pedophile guy. Sorry, guy, I didn't write your name down. And basically strangles him just so he can get into death row. And so it does talk about, well, is close management helping anybody? Is this just making it worse? So I do like that sort of aspect, because obviously this man, something is there that is not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But did close management push him over the edge?
It shows the effect of like solitary confinement on a person as well, because he said he was there for a really, really long period of time, like you said, 20 years. But I didn't realise how bad it was in solitary confinement, in that he was in a cell for 23 hours a day. He was only entitled to 6 hours of exercise a week. That's crazy. And they were like, there was like nothing really in the cell. So there was like, there's no entertainment, there's no TV, there's nothing for you to occupy those 23 hours in which you're in a cell.
Yeah, I think one of the nurses that they interview say that a lot of the men in close management just sleep because there's like not much to do. And then a lot of them will be up in the night and they're just like yelling. There's nothing that you can do. You're just sat in this tiny little cell, and so you just start yelling and screaming and seeing if anyone else will like yell back at you and all the rest of it. And just, I didn't realize that was a thing, really.
Yeah, it just shows that what is it? It's got to be a form of torture, really, isn't it? Really, you know, and it's not. Then it goes down the road of, is it rehabilitation or are you just punishment? You know, being in prison, which I guess is supposed to be both. It is both, of course. Of course it's punishment. But also you're just like, I don't see how this is gonna, I don't know. But then you don't know. We don't know the ins and out of, I guess he was a danger to other people, but you gotta like weigh up. Like, and then it led him to kill, his cellmate, by the way, was Frank Hart.
Thank you.
No problem. And and it says that in Florida where he is, death row has larger cells and they get more yard time. So I guess if you know you're not going anywhere, I guess he thought that was just a better option.
Yeah, I did talk to one of his... James says he's his buddy. The buddy says, we are not buddies, but I know of James. And the buddy says, like, yeah, close management sucks, but if you go in there and you do what you're told as you're supposed to, then you just come out. And he would, James just refused. So it's on him that he was in there so long. Yeah. He should have just done what they asked him to do, like you're supposed to in prison, and then he could have gotten out. So I like that it does show both sides, that, yeah, close management is pretty messed up, but also it does help some people, you know, vice versa.
Definitely. Yeah, and I guess pedophiles get put and stuff like that for their own protection, I guess, from the other people. But also, that guy was particularly, did he freak you out? He really freaked me out. He
freaked me out. Yeah,
really kind of creepy.
I think it's because he wanted to go on death row, and I don't think anyone really wants that, do they?
Yeah. And he'd been in prison since he was 17, so he's been in prison for more than he's been out.
Yeah.
That does stuff to you.
I also thought, so towards the end of that show, they show his cousin, don't they? Where he just didn't have anyone. He'd been in prison from such a young age, comes from like a terrible family, like childhood family life, which kind of led him down that path anyway. And then they show that he'd connected with his cousin, his first cousin, I think, and his family, and they've come to visit him. And then I think this program's good because it kind of has a way of showing the different layers of the crimes, of the people, it's like everything isn't so straightforward. And it kind of showed him in a more humane way because I found him really, like...
a monster. Like an actual monster. Like something that nightmares are made of. It was scary stuff.
Yeah. But then I guess showing that with how he connected with his cousin made him a little bit more human. I don't know. But I just thought the program, like I said, it's 10 episodes. I think if I was going to rate it, I would say it would be a really good, as far as these type of programs, it's one of the better ones I've seen. Because, you've got all these type programs on like the ID channel and all the crime and investigation and stuff like that. And I thought it's a really good one. The stories are really interesting. And yeah, so I would give it like, I think a 4.5 even. And it's a great one you can you don't necessarily, like I think I was doing some work a bit when I was watching, like I was kind of in and out of like, you can kind of put it on in the background too. But I thought it was good. What did you guys think?
I think, at least, I haven't watched all 10 because they are about an hour.
They are
each
long, aren't
episode,
they? Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, but also it helps you get so many different perspectives on one particular crime. It doesn't really feel like it's rushed through all the details. They really have a lot of time to dive into stuff. But I would say something similar, like 3.5, 4. I thought it was interesting. Definitely one of the better ones that in that sort of vein of shows, definitely.
Yeah, I put down 4 for it. I thought it was well researched, well produced. You got to see a lot of different sides, which you don't often do. So yeah, 4.
Great. Well, it's available on Netflix. I know it's available on Netflix UK at the moment. I'm not actually sure about the US or Canada, but check it out if you get the opportunity.
Weird Crime Time.
So this week for Weird Crime Time, we are going to the beautiful British Columbia, Canada, and to discuss, here's the title, Did Canuck the Crow Swoop Off with a Knife from a Vancouver Crime Scene? And the question is yes. Okay, so apparently there is a crow in the Vancouver area that is notorious. He is known by many people. They call him Canuck. He's kind of terrifying, to be honest. He is like the darkest crow. He's got very suspicious looking beady eyes. But apparently he is being accused of flying away with a knife from a crime scene. So he has his own dedicated Facebook page. He's posted about a lot on social media, pictures of him basically stealing stuff and being kind of like a gangster. So police were called to a shooting. There was a car engulfed in flames. When they arrived, they were confronted with a man with a knife. The shots were fired. The man was arrested. And a reporter, Mike, said he saw the bird, which has a red tag on his leg, so he's identified.
I thought you said he had like a gold chain on or something.
Yeah, he's like little hats backwards. It's like a K. Like
he's got a red tag as his jewelry. But basically, Mike says he saw the bird swoop in and pick up an object from inside the area cordoned off by police tape. And a cop chased him, like chased the crow until the crow dropped it and took off. He said it was really strange. I've been reporting on crime scenes for 20 years and I've never seen a crow try to take a knife before. Oh my God. Yeah, he did drop the knife, thankfully. Then they say the bird was also spotted sitting on the roof of the burned car. So if you can imagine this burned out vehicle and this really creepy gangster looking crow sitting up like on top.
That is amazing. Like where do you think it went wrong in his life? Like
Well,
he's just a bad crow. Like how he went down the wrong path. Like
went down the wrong road, yeah. But it does talk about how crows are known to be very intelligent and very curious. And people think because the knife was shiny that he probably picked it up because he liked the look of it. So a lot of crows will take things like shiny foil, anything that sparkles like beads and that sort of thing. They end the article that it was a crime of opportunity. So if you are in the Vancouver area, keep an eye out for Canuck. He's actually kind of scary. We can post a picture of him someplace. And he is known for taking shiny things and taking murder weapons. So just be aware.
That is great. Can you imagine that cop, then they're like at the crime scene and they're like gathering the evidence or whatever. And then he's got to like call his boss. Yeah, we lost the knife.
I lost the bird.
Yeah.
Then they had to literally chase the bird to get it to drop this knife.
I could just imagine.
It's almost like the perfect crime, though. Like if you did stab someone, you could like train a crow to take the knife away.
Maybe that's the whole thing.
Maybe that's what it was.
Actually part of like a criminal gang, and they've trained him.
Instead of like carrier pigeons, we have like gangster crows.
Gangster crows. Yeah, definitely. So I think that's all we have for today. If you want to get in contact with us, murderfriendspod@gmail.com. Check out our website, murderfriends.com. You can also find us on Instagram, murderfriendspod, and Twitter, murderfriendspd. And if you like our show, leave us a 5-star review and and subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.